Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival. Is the weapon that cuts on its own. Hacks laden with loot are often low on supplies. Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places. An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Yikers. It's still kind of loud, isn't it? Let's turn that down just another 50%. Alright. Let's keep going. How's everyone doing today? Oh, they left. That's all good. Bum, 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 bum. Hanging out for the Destiny announcement happening real soon. In fact, let's pop it up on the screen so that we can see when Destiny comes back. Bom, bom, bom. I wonder if he'll be late. I feel like imagining that he won't be late is a bad idea. Hello, where's my cursor? It's still gone. What the fuck? If I mute this browser, then it works, I guess. We turn everything here onto automatic. Still fucked. Am I just not meant to be able to see that? Oh, okay, now it's working. Wait, I can see my cursor, but you can't? And now you can see my cursor, but I can't. Okay. Well.
The bigger the beast, the greater the glory.
Darkest dungeon, how to reduce torch during a fight. Interact with the light meter itself. Right, clicking on it increases it. How do you put out the torch? Just right click. Yeah, it's not working. Oh, he's live. He's live. He's early. He's actually early. Angel Thump's in, boys.
But I feel better about everything. Feel okay. Feel decent today. Feel decent. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think in a couple weeks I'll probably talk. You owe us a hint at least. I had a shared therapy session for 5 hours yesterday. Okay, let's go with that. That's the only hint you're getting. That, and I'll say no. I'll just say that. Yeah, but yeah.
Stay psych.
I'm feeling good about everything. Give me like a couple weeks, and we'll probably have a slightly more in-depth convo about everything. But yeah, Jesus. Mel doesn't seem to know about anything. Yeah. Let me just... This is probably the conversation we'll have in a couple weeks, okay? Oh my god. Hold on. I'm vague posting at levels that would make XQC jealous, okay? I have a reputation in a lot of different areas. Well, okay. Let me say this, okay? Whenever stuff leaks about me, generally, okay? When stuff is leaking about me, usually... I'm trying to think if there are examples of contradictions. Generally, when stuff leaks about me, I'm usually more generous or more kind, or I'm being more of a pushover than people would expect. I think that's basically been like every leak about me. That I'm overpaying somebody, that I let somebody get away with some fuck shit for a long time, etc., etc., etc. That's generally what it is, okay? Now, I will say that there's one area in my life where it seems like that's not the case, where I'm just like kind of a horrible person all the time and blah, 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 blah. Maybe that's not the case, though. Maybe that's not actually the case. That's all I'll say, okay? All right. But I'm past all of it. I'm good. I feel better. I feel less crazy.
Fools
doing
and
okay.
corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Have you seen the threads on your subreddit with the amount of wild speculation and drama? I will say somebody definitely got the answer 100% correct in the main drama thread. Now, which one was it? Who knows? We'll see in a couple weeks. But
Trinkets and charms.
Okay.
Gathered from all
Where
the
are we at?
forgotten corners of the earth.
Where are we at? Half the new people here who haven't watched me for more than a year are like, what the fuck is he talking about? What is he talking about?
Most will end
You
up
excited to
here,
travel in a week?
covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful
A
oblivion.
little bit. I thought about canceling the whatever show. I'm gonna be honest. I shouldn't. But Jubilee is on the 9th. That's always a good show for me. Yeah, and I think that's all I have right now. I'm gonna be honest. When Brian first reached out to schedule the, because I've got Jubilee on the 9th, I asked Brian if he could do the 10th for whatever, and he told me that he only shoots on Thursdays and Fridays. And when he responded that to me, I was so tempted to be like, okay, well, I'm not coming, good luck, and then completely acted. What do you mean you only shoot on Thursdays and Fridays? It's an apartment. It's 2 people. What do you mean you only shoot on Thursdays and Fridays? And I was like, oh, maybe we can do Thursday, but...
The cost of preparedness, measured now in gold.
Did you see the clip where Whack 100 essentially hopes a black person punches you in the face? I did not. But Whack is also kind of a memer, so I don't know. I don't give a fuck. I didn't watch. People said Erudite did great on the show the other day. Can I ask a question? Is 7-hour show. I would off myself.
You had a crazy show.
Oh wait, what? Did she take her jacket off? Is this supposed to be like a Mikasa cosplay that Erudite has? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Have I been doing too much Vyvanse? Am I having an amphetamine hallucination? I thought she was wearing that one. I thought she was wearing that one coat. Oh, there it is. Jesus. Okay. Is this supposed to be like an Attack on Titan thing? Am I just like seeing this like that for no reason, or? It's just a jacket. It's a common new style. Hold on.
Why are those so stressed already?
Okay, all of you are gaslighting me. I don't think it's that crazy. I see that the jacket Mikasa is a little short, but it's like the same colorish and stylish. Okay, fuck you guys. This is like a Mikasa cosplay. Okay, fuck you. But let's strike a deal with the OC. How's that stock doing, bro? I don't know. I have so much money sitting in my checking account right now. Every time I go into Wells Fargo, the people like glare at me. I haven't invested in anything. Let's see. How's our Budweiser thing doing? You know, sorry, first world problems. You know. How did my? Oh, I thought my portfolio just lost. Okay, where are we at? Budweiser was the one that I spite bought for conservatives, right? Holdings. I think I only bought like 3K of it though. It's just like the percentage go up. Anheuser-Busch.
Back to the pit.
Oh, I bought 50K of it. Okay. Okay.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
I don't know when I bought this. It seems like I'm up pretty good. It looks like I bought it when it was... I bought for 42K and it's up 6.5K right now, I think. It's worth 49. So, I don't know. But I don't know when I bought it to know if that's a good or bad increase. Cost basis summary. Is that going to tell me when I bought? I don't know why Vanguard changed the way this all looks. It drives me crazy. Oh yeah, it's appreciated 15.2% in value. Is this really going to be a regular shit stream? Yep.
Packs laden with loot are often low on supplies.
When did I buy this? Transact. Show lot details.
Even the
It really doesn't tell me when I
stone
bought
seems
this?
bent
Well,
on
I don't
preventing
understand. Oh,
passage.
acquisition date was in June. Oh, so in 6 months it's increased 15%. Oh, well fuck. That's a good investment. My spite investment worked. Fuck you guys. Okay, it literally only jumped this past month. Good. Fuck you guys. Fuck the conservatives. Do you think I should ditch this now? Did they just announce something big? Hold on. Bro, I don't know anything about this. Listen, I just make good calls. I just make good calls. I don't know how to look up this stupid fucking stock. Hold on, Jesus. I don't think the ticker is Bud, is it? Oh, it is. Damn. Oh, all the gains have been this month. Yeah, true. What's the S&P 500 for this month? Let's check. 1 month.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
8.3%. Yeah, we are crushing the market. Well, let's check over 6 months. That's really what we should be asking, right? Under 6 months, the S&P 500 is up a little under 9%. Yes. Good job, guys. You're literally gambling with stock at this point? No. Thoughts on DeSantis versus Newsom debate last night? I did not have time for that last night.
Press disadvantage. Give them no quarter.
Will stream schedule be more structured because of the live stuff going on in the background? My live stuff in the background is good now. I should be pretty regular streaming for the next 7 days, I think. Save me taking time off to hang out with the Melts, you know?
But yonder, a glint of
You will not get over 90% on this. Caribbean. Oh, I don't know. I don't know these. We haven't studied these.
these nightmarish
So how could I
creatures can
possibly
be
do
felled.
that?
They can be beaten.
Bro, I flew to Puerto Rico. I might have forgotten all the countries. I haven't done it in like a week. Puerto Rico. This is the Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic. This must be Puerto Rico? Okay. Trinidad and Tobago. Sounds like that one. The Virgin Islands? I don't know, bro. That's where you guys live, right? Dominican Republic. It's Haiti and Dominican Republic. The British. How many Virgin Islands are there, guys? Yikes. Turks and Caicos? Did I just say a slur for Jewish people? It's over here. Barbados is over there. Haiti's here. Cuba's here. I don't know. The Bahamas. Where's the Epstein Island? Good question. Aruba, we've been there.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered. Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all. Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles. Darkness closes in, haunting the hearts of men. The slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving. Masterfully executed. As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. In Radiance, may we find victory. promise of safety. Executed with impunity. A death by inches. Another abomination cleansed from our lands. Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken. The darkness holds much worse than mere trickery and boogeymen. Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive. Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall. The tents are pitched, banners fly. and the corpse wagons stand at the ready. The circus has come to town.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm mad at Wick, I guess? Wick just used a hypothetical. They have already called him abusive over stream title. He will try to claim. Okay, alright, good luck. Wait, is this the girl that was on the, Keeper Kick Tori? Or is this somebody different? Don't lie, this drama will turn into Ask Me in 10 years. No, I kind of have to say something in a few weeks. I really have to. Oh, that's Taft. No, it's not. Wait, does Taft have tattoos? No, shut up.
He approved it. That is the answer.
I just don't feel that answer. Like, you keep saying you're being honest, but I don't think that was an honest answer. I'm just being real.
Oh, you can't volume up on streamables. Why is it that when you guys cut streamables, why do you make them so fucking quiet? Yeah, I know what Tef looks like, because she's always dropping well actuallys in my fucking Twitter mention, so it's not fucking Tef.
And they approved it. That is the answer.
I just don't feel that answer. Like, you keep saying you're being honest, but I don't think that was an honest answer. I'm just being real.
Okay, so you think that is not an honest answer, and that is your problem. I'm being honest with you. You're not listening. You're not listening.
It sounds like, if I may interject, it does sound
Please.
like, Wick, you don't have maybe a lot of experience with neurodivergent people, maybe, because everything Merc's saying, everything, my audience is very neurodivergent. We're all neurodivergent here. We have exactly the same lived experience. This makes sense to us. Even if Merc goes off her meds and then realizes she needs to get back on it, that's still the right choice. ADHD people go on and off their meds all the time.
Can someone make a wrong choice with their medication?
Yes, but you're assuming
Yes,
it's always
okay.
negative.
So
But you
possibility that
lead
you
with
may be making
fear.
the wrong choice is out there, correct?
My concern is you lead with fear every time you correct somebody. You're always afraid they're making the wrong choice instead of celebrating her having agency and getting better enough to get off her meds. Or, oh, that's great that you don't need to spend money on prescriptions because like that's expensive.
Or I acknowledge that there is times where I do need to take my medicine, or where there's times.
Okay, I don't know if this is I watch too much Death Note or House or what. This is something that I have a great... God, I have so much personal experience to draw from on all of these topics now. Okay, here's an issue that I run into sometimes when I talk to people that I feel are being emotional. I run into issues where people will say things like, Steven, when you talk about these things, you sound like a prosecutor. Or, Steven, you need to be more emotional in these conversations, okay? This is an issue that I feel like I run into a lot with people. Is people will hide behind things like neurodivergent or emotional or feel statements when the reality is we should be able to look at a collection of actions and we should be able to see, what exactly is going on. Or rather, when we look at the actions, all of these actions should be powered by the same underlying, thought process, basically. But, I feel like some people don't want to admit to it, or some people don't want to own that, so they start to create a bunch of different excuses in a lot of different places, and then when you try to push them on it, they're like, oh, well, these are just my feelings or whatever. And it's like, well, hold on, this is not possible. Like, you're doing things that are contradictory to your stated feeling. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I can think of an example here. I'm trying to think can I think of an example that's not related to a particular person or thing? Brittany's saying it's okay for mentally people to go off their meds and still not responsible. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know if I can think of an example of this. Somebody else can think of one in chat. I can respond to it. But yeah. I notice this happens a lot. When somebody's making the decision to go off or on their meds, I feel like because some people people are really obsessed with validation. They're obsessed with looking for validation. And sometimes people like giving validation. It feels good to get validated. And it feels good to give validation because you feel like, yeah, somebody's listening to you. However, one of the things here is whether or not somebody's making a decision to go on or off their meds, we have to look at the underlying thought process. Like if somebody comes to me and they're like, I'm just not feeling this shit anymore, I'm dropping it, fuck it, I feel better now, I'm getting off my meds, it's like, okay, this is probably a bad decision, right? That's probably a bad decision. But if somebody says something like, I've been talking with my therapist, I've made a ton of progress, I've got a lot of healthy routines, I know how to deal with my emotional dysregulation, I think I'm gonna start to wean off my meds and see how I feel. Oh, okay, fine, yeah, I support that. Let's see how it goes, right? That's a good thought process. Just because somebody's getting on or off their meds is not enough to know whether or not it's a good or bad decision. You need to look at the actions, you know? Okay, just as a real quick, for anybody speculating that anything over the past month has had anything to do with me making mistakes, it is absolutely not the case, okay? Absolutely not the case. Or maybe even for the past like 8 months. I don't think so. But anyway, okay. Stop speculating and stop commenting, because now you fucking losers are vague posting to my vague post.
Pace out the halls of your lineage
All right.
once familiar. Now, foreign.
All right. Sorry. Anyway, so let's keep listening. But also, I don't know why Merc got off her meds or got back on her meds or anything. I have no idea. You started it. I did start it. I thought things were gonna happen a little differently, so I fucked you guys. I fully admit that. Okay. Make your angry threads. Be mad about it. Good. I'm glad.
Times where I do need to take my medicine, or where there's times.
I think truth exists outside of what we believe.
Yeah, but you're
Your
the only.
truth.
Yeah, your truth. Like, you're doing this
No,
thing
truth.
again. You're doing it again. We even appeal to authority, and it's not good enough for you. Her lived experience isn't good enough for you. Me back.
I really wish you ever clipped this. I could have seen the conversation beforehand. I'm really curious about people talking about starting or stopping their meds on a public platform. I'm really curious about what's being said. I haven't heard Brittany say anything publicly that is like unhinged relating to medication. But if Merc is involved, I don't know if Brittany's feelings about me would make her give dog shit advice to validate Merc, because Merc stands in opposition to me. So I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Backing her up isn't good enough for you. Rora, even backing her up isn't good enough for you. What's going to be good enough for Wick?
If you're going off meds, do it with a doctor. 90% of the people I've met in the psych ward are there because they decided to go off their meds on their own. Your doctor will help you figure out the best option. Stay strong mentally, regardless, for sure.
What do you think I'm challenging?
It sounds like you don't trust her, even though you keep saying I should hold her accountable as an adult. You don't trust her to be an adult enough with her body.
I don't know what that statement from Brittany means. I'm hard perspective because I don't know. But like, yeah, of course, you don't trust people kind of who are on medication to necessarily make their own completely autonomous decisions. This is why they consult other people like doctors, or sometimes they'll consult like friends. Yeah, like you don't have, like, when your mind is poisoned and you have the inability to make good, healthy decisions for yourself, of course you give a little bit of that autonomy to other people that you trust, like a doctor, like a friend, like a family member. Yeah, of course.
You say you don't like infantilizing people, but you're infantilizing me by saying she's
You are
not,
literally doing that.
she's not mental enough to make her own decisions.
I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm treat anyone else as an adult.
Well, that's the problem. You need to treat Merc
Adult?
the way Merc is, not like any other adult. She's not like any other adult. She's herself. I'm gonna challenge you to work harder, to treat people the way they need to be treated, not the way other people need to be treated.
Because you can't compare someone who's non-neurodivergent to me. Because I am neurodivergent. I'm different. Clearly, I'm zany. I am ADHD. I have a past experience, and this is what I don't get.
There's also, people have a really hard time with this thing where people are like, I'm an individual. And it's like, yeah, sure. But we also all exist along like a spectrum of probabilistic outcomes, you know? Like if somebody tells me some information, like how do you think diagnoses work for a hospital, right? I'm gonna prescribe you a medication I prescribe to 1 million other people. Well, how can you do that? I'm an individual, right? Of course, like you're an individual, but like we can also speak pretty broadly about people. There's experiences that people like, there's experiences people don't like, you know, like, yeah, I mean, you'll...
Why people try to compare every person to every person. We are all different. Wick, you're different.
Why, right? Someone, I told this to Mr. Girl, okay? Which is, I'm getting a lot of Mr. Girl vibes here.
You're
Don't
comparing me.
compare her to
Of course
him.
I'm comparing you. Okay, I'm trying to calm down. Of course I'm comparing you. When I see few things that are
Confidence
an
surges
unfair
as the
thing to
enemy
say.
crumbles.
Yeah, it is. To me, it's extremely unfair because you can't compare two people.
These
You need to
nightmarish
take me as
creatures
like you've
can
never
be
met me
felled.
before. You
They
don't need to
can
have
be
any other
beaten.
person in your mind. If you truly want the honesty and you want answers and you want to actually like have a productive conversation, you need to act like you don't know anything else but me. You need to learn who I am
I also don't know why this was cut. This clip seems so stupid. What are we looking
and listen to me. If we are going
learn
to get
who you are.
Listen to me. That's all you have to do. Listen to what I'm saying. Trust that I'm being honest with you because I'm trying to be honest. Okay? I came in here trying to talk to you. I told you what I said. This is your community, so I'm talking in the sphere of being in your bubble. Okay? I'm trying to be respectful. I'm trying to be grounded. But the more you acknowledge the more you try and pin me or paint me as being dishonest, I get aggravated because I'm sitting here telling you this is who I am and you're not accepting it. So if you're not going to accept who I am, then there's no point in having a conversation because it goes nowhere.
So
I mean, what Merc is saying is also true, but
what I would say to that is that I think there is a point in this conversation. I think that clear that the conversation that we were having was
me
about
and
whether
how
me and
we're
Laura were abusive towards you.
And which is why I'm here. So it is about me. Were you abusive to me? Yes,
No.
you were.
I hate, in my opinion, when we talk about like, in my opinion, when we talk about abusive, a lot of these terms are very nebulous or very like bubbly, like off of different areas. Like they could touch a lot of different concepts. When I think of abusive, I generally think of something that is closer to torture than just being mean. Generally, something I think is usually considered torture is when you're inflicting pain on somebody that for whatever reason can't evade, avoid, or fight back. That's generally what I think of. When I think of abusive, I generally think of somebody's in a position where they can't really respond or leave, and they just kind of have to take it. Abusive to me seems like a lighter version of torture. I don't like that abusive has been warped into like being mean. So like for instance, like me, like, you know, if me and Lycan got into a fight, you know, 6 months ago, and I'm like, Lycan, you're a fucking retard, kill yourself, I hate you, blah, 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 right? I don't think it's abusive. I think it's just me being mean, right? Now that Lycan, you know, works for me, if Lycan was in my apartment and every time he came in I started shouting at him, now it kind of does feel a little bit abusive. Because like, well, what, is he just going to quit his job and just ditch his shit now that he's like moved here, whatever, right? That feels a little bit stranger because of the dynamics at play, I guess, yeah. So, yeah, I don't like this. I don't know if Wick has the capability of being abusive to Merc. Wick has no control over her career. They're not dating. They're not family members. I don't know how Wick can be abusive towards Merc at all. I don't know if they're friends. Like, yeah, I don't know what the capacity for abuse here even is.
Okay, that was your opinion. I think you were being
No,
abusive.
it's
You're
just-
being
it's not an-
hateful.
How do you handle conversations with people who have a diagnosed mental health disorder? Can you trust their self-assessment? I mean, it depends on the disorder, and it depends on who you're talking to. And it depends on if they've self-diagnosed or not.
Leave there now.
It's like it's kind of like, this is what I mean by accidental gaslighting, but not gaslighting. It's the wrong word. It's like the technical term. You're doing this thing where anytime Merc shares anything about herself, you put on a face, you doubt, you signal to your audience she's crazy, which is fair, I guess, but your whole body language is so dismissive. It's so rude. It's fine, but that's what I'm saying. You're already prejudging her. You're not listening to her, which is fine. You can do that, but that's why I call it abusive, because if I did anything you were doing, put me in jail, because it would be intentional.
Yeah, none of that is abusive. God damn it. You're really gonna fucking make me... What a horrible clip. All you've done is piqued my curiosity. Hold on, we've missed so much drama.
What's up? What's up?
Is
What's
Wick emotionally abusive? Oh, that's the thing. Okay.
Give me one. All right, before we start this conversation, I think I need to take the time to kind of establish myself into the conversation. So one, I acknowledge that this is not my sphere. Okay, this is Brittany's. Wait, who's streaming this? So whose point of view are we looking at it from? Wick's, right? So we are in Wick's bubble right now. Therefore, I will not be acting like my character because the only place that is safe for me to be my character is within my own community. So I will be serious throughout this conversation. But do not take that for me saying I will not be honest. I'm going to be honest with exactly how I feel. I'm going to call it like I see it, but I will do so in a respectful way. So if you get offended by what I say, I apologize that you are offended, but I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth. Okay, does that make sense? It does. Also, I just quit my job and I was able to sleep for the first time normally. And
Okay, I've never interacted with this Roar person before, right? Just making sure. So glad I waited for this stream. Oh, here, you can always come back next month. Let me hang out here, buddy. They're powering up and combining. Hello, why is it not working?
Hey, you live.
What's up? Give me acting like my character because the only place that's safe for me to be my character is within my community. So I will be serious throughout this conversation. But do not take that for me saying I will not be honest.
Okay,
I'm going to be honest
with
with
the
exactly how I feel. I'm going to call it like I see it, but I will do so in a respectful way.
Why are you so pressed? I'm not pressed, it's just weird. When sometimes people are like, oh, I don't want to watch the stream today. Well, then just don't. Come back later. You don't have to tell everybody. It's like when people are in forums, they used to do this, or subreddits, people are like, I don't think I'm going to be back anymore. It's like, okay, bro, just leave. Nobody's waiting for you to exit, okay? Just peace out. It's all good, dude.
So if you get offended by what I say, I apologize that you are offended, but I'm not going to sugarcoat the truth. Okay, does that make sense? Also, I just quit my job and I was able to sleep for the first time normally, and I have not taken my ADHD medicine, so if it seems like I'm bouncing off the walls, it's because I most definitely am.
Is that a good news that you quit your job? Are you excited?
Okay, so you're not taking your medication. That's why you don't take your medication.
My ADHD medication? Because I don't want to, because it's a methamphetamine or an amphetamine and I don't like it. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, it's fine. I stay at home, I stream, I don't need to take my ADHD medication. Now, if I actually was a schizophrenic thing and I wasn't taking my schizo pills, then that would be a problem. But ADHD isn't necessarily like a bad thing. ADHD is my superpower.
Okay, careful. Okay, careful, because I'm about to talk a whole bunch of bullshit that might not be true for everybody. Okay, I'm about to talk a whole bunch of bullshit that might not be true for everybody. Talk to your therapist, talk to other friends, blah, 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 blah. Oftentimes, these are just questions I have in my mind, okay? These are questions that I have in my mind. Oftentimes, I'll hear somebody point out a mental illness they have, and then I hear somebody say something along the lines of like, well, this mental illness is actually my superpower. One of the things that I wonder sometimes is, do you actually have that mental illness, or are you very, 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 very far away, like on the lighter end of the spectrum of that mental illness? I am so curious about that. because usually, like, I'll hear somebody say with autism is my superpower. I've met people that are actually autistic, and I've known people that have siblings or friends that are low functioning autistic. Okay, the only thing that's a superpower for is beating the shit out of your mom when you're 25 years old because the male caretaker hasn't shown up yet to like help you eat. Okay, that's the superpower. Okay, I don't know if I like it when some of these things are phrased as superpowers, because I noticed that like over the past 10 or 15 years, probably in response to the stigmatization of mental illness, which is really shitty, people have reframed it, and instead of taking an honest or accurate look at it, they started to romanticize it. ADHD is my superpower. Now, again, obviously I've got some personal buy-in here, so maybe I'm an asshole. And I used to say that shit, actually. I used to say that same cope shit. I like ADHD. I can read all my chats at the same time. I can do all this shit. I can multitask and blah, 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 blah. That was a cope. That's always been a cope. Every single time I've said it, it's a cope. There has never in my life been a time where I've been on Vyvanse and I'm thinking, God, fuck, I wish I could just focus less better. Or like, oh, dude, I really want to get up and like do the laundry and this and this and this. I wish I wouldn't have taken my meds today so I could kind of just like walk around the house looking at all the things I need to do and then just go back to my phone and either masturbate or browse Reddit for 6 hours. Like, oh, fuck, why did I take my medication today? Or like, man, like I'm on stream, and we're going through topic after topic. I wish I could kind of just get like yanked around by like a random comment and like focus on that. But like, it's never, ever, ever happened. Now, maybe my ADHD is more severe, so the medication like brings me in line more, or maybe I'm not sick at all and I'm just on some crazy cope now with medication, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I've known people who have ADHD who like don't shower. They don't take care of their bodies. It's like really extreme. So sometimes when I hear people do this thing like, oh, ADHD is my superpower, like in what regard is you having like a deficiency in dopamine like a superpower? How is this helping you? Actually, one thing that I will say, hold on. Stop. One thing I will say where ADHD can be a superpower is if you need to focus on something really badly that has a consistent reward scheme, then ADHD can be a superpower. So when I was a professional StarCraft 2 player, then ADHD was, because I could sit and play StarCraft 2 for 16 hours a day, every day, over and over and over again for months. I did that. Or when I was like playing Factorio or grinding through like my autism games. In that case, ADHD can be a superpower because like I'll sit here and I will play, Factorio for 12 hours a day over and over and over and over and over again. That ADHD can be a superpower because my understanding is if you have a dopamine deficiency because you're ADHD, right? Whether it's the biomechanical reasons are complicated and I barely even understand them, right? But if you have a dopamine deficiency, things that give you consistent streams of dopamine are very, 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 very like addicting for ADHD people. This is where the ADHD hyper-focus comes from, right? That you'll find a game or a thing that regularly rewards you and you'll grind that shit for 16 hours because it's finally giving you like that stimulation that you need. So yeah, I hate the romanticization of mental illness shit. Drives me fucking crazy. But yeah. Brittany, conversations sound like she stands radical skepticism of the shared nature of human experience. This seems contrary to psychology. Everybody's skeptic? I agree. She probably does feel that way, yes. But you have another problem with disabilities where people develop unique skills because of their disability, but that does not mean it is an inherent advantage. For example, someone's missing arms might be really good at using their feet to do stuff as an adaptation, but that doesn't mean it doesn't suck shit to miss your fucking arms. True. True. Destiny, it's a way to try and deal with the weight of whatever your diagnosis is. It is a half cope when trying to process the good and bad of the diagnosis. True. Also, this is also something that it's taken me a long time to learn. I talked about this a little bit before. Remember, you can learn maladaptive behaviors. Maladaptive behaviors are really, really, really good for some things. That's why they're maladaptive. They're adaptive because it helps you navigate a particular thing you couldn't before, but it's maladaptive. It's a poor adaptation because there's probably a better one that would require more work that would be holistically more healthy for you. So in my case, right, it's probably one thing I spoke about was I have a maladaptive issue where I don't set boundaries or anything or make asks of other people in my personal or even professional life because people in my life have always been really unreliable. So I'm very self-reliant, right? Now it's maladaptive because in some ways it's very beneficial for streaming and everything. I've been very self-reliant for the most part and I've like done really good at that, but it's also maladaptive because in my personal relationships, sometimes people can get really crazy in my personal life and do absolutely insane shit that nobody else in their entire fucking life would ever tolerate. And I might not even say anything about it publicly because it's so crazy, because I let people walk all over me, et cetera, right? So these are like examples of like a maladaptive behavior in practice, ways that it can be good, ways that it can be bad. But yeah, but the best thing that you can do is, if you have a maladaptive behavior, find out why it works for you. Try to like take the good from that and then apply that to your life while like getting rid of the bad or like changing your behavior overall. If you can do that. Sorry, that was a long spiel on that, but yeah.
Is that wrong? You think
This was going to derail us if we did that. It's going
No,
to
it's
derail.
conversation.
I understand. But I think that, yes, if you are prescribed a medication for ADHD, for bipolar,
Do ADHD people get more addicted to porn 'cause it's easier? I don't know. Like I said, before my medication, I was masturbating like 3 to 4 times a day. So I don't know if it's an ADHD thing or not. Also, if I'm like hanging with a girl, we will fuck like 4, 5, 6, 7 times a night. I don't know if it's an ADHD thing or not, or what, but that's just maybe I'm just a Cooper. I'm not sure. Okay, back to this. Okay.
or whatever.
Well, not the same. But wait, not the same. Like, you have to understand, ADHD medication is not the same as bipolar medication. One you have to take.
Certainly. But again, if you are not taking if I have a condition, even if it's a mild condition, and I refuse to take my medication for it by choice because I just don't want to, then there is a risk of that condition exacerbating to a certain degree. And while it
Brittany is super duper ultra right here. Brittany is super right here. I don't know if Wick is aware of that or wants to engage with that. For things like ADHD medication, you can either take it or you cannot take it. I mean, like, I think it'll have negative, and for me, it has negative effects on my life if I don't, but that's a lot different than medication for like bipolar or, is there medication prescribed for borderline? Like other types of like actual like mental disorders. Yeah. There's no medication that specifically treats borderline, but there are several medications they use. Oh, so you probably take like anti-anxiety, like Xanax or shit like that, maybe. But okay, gotcha. Or lithium or whatever. Okay. Weird question, but has Merc and Brittany been hanging around each other a lot? Britt gets super excited when Merc says dumb shit, and the interaction is weird from beginning to end. I think Brittany started to attach herself to everybody that came like out of my stream. I don't know if it's a way to get back at me or to affirm or be in my. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but. Is it possible to get ADHD when you're an adult if you do not display symptoms during childhood? My understanding is ADHD is pretty heritable. I don't think there are any environmental factors that play into ADHD. I used to think that, but I don't think that's true. And you either kind of have it or you don't from like an early age, I believe. I don't think you can develop ADHD. Oh God. Again, low conviction on these statements. I could be wrong, but I think ADHD has like, it's like a weird thing where you have, are these your neurons? And for some reason, your synapses between other neurons or something, basically, dopamine like kind of like leaks out of these things and doesn't get to the, I think it's your neurons, right? Doesn't get in here, and so your dopamine levels are like really low. And you can take medication. You can either take medication that pushes it back in. I think that's an amphetamine, or you can take medication that prevents it from leaking out. I think that's methylenidate or whatever. Methylphenidate, I think, are the two different ways, basically, that you can treat ADHD. It's either a medication to prevent, I think, the shit from leaking, or medication to kind of, like, push it back in. I think, like, very broadly. Also, I don't know how well neurologists understand this, and I certainly don't understand it that well. This is like, I'm trying to remember from articles I read or whatever, but I don't understand the biological underpinnings too well for it, but, yeah.
it might not hurt her as much as someone not taking their they're taking their antipsychotics or whatever. There is a risk when you come, like, you are prescribed this medication for a reason, right?
But it's like always, when you get ADHD, if you get ADHD medication, if you get like herpes medication, if you're getting medications, these are optional medications. Your doctor doesn't make you take them. Some people benefit from them, some people don't. I recommend ADHD medication if it helps you, but it's an optional medication.
So, like, in my case, right, whenever I worked a full-time job, I would take it. I didn't like taking it, but for those days where I needed to be focused, I needed to not be bouncing all over the walls, that's fine. But fortunately, I am put into a position where I can quit my job, so I'm streaming full-time now. I don't need to focus. I can be zany, I can be funny, I can be bouncing off the walls because that's how I feel comfortable. Now, if I was in a situation where I need to have that focus, then I would.
And then this is my feeling, and I haven't had adequate pushback yet, so I still feel strongly about this because I keep getting people emailing me telling me that they agree, so I could be wrong on this. Personally, and also, keep in mind when I say this, I'm recommending the opposite of what some physicians recommend, okay? So I'm speaking against some doctor advice. So if you have a doctor, I would trust the doctor over me. Just be aware that when I'm recommending these things, it's not always like, I know I'm right, blah, 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 blah. There are people that I've also heard some doctors say the opposite, okay? Personally, I don't like the idea of just taking your meds when you need to focus for ADHD because I feel like whatever your brain chemistry should be or should be set at or whatever your day-to-day should look like, you should be on like a regular dose and like figure out what your life looks like on that dose of medication. The idea that like, I need to concentrate today, like I'm gonna do house and like take my shit. It feels like, and I could be wrong, but it feels like that could lead to abusive behavior where you're abusing your medication, especially because I feel like you're probably way more likely to feel that euphoria or that really good medicine kick if you're only taking it like sparingly. So I feel like that could lead to abuse. That's just my feeling, but I could be wrong on that. And again, like my doctor recommended a lot of drug holidays. She said, oh, you could just take it 4 days a week and not 3 days a week, blah, blah, blah. So if I'm telling you advice, I'm just letting you know that there are doctors that agree and disagree on this. So be careful of just like taking anything I say.
Some from
What is this? Somebody linking this real quick.
adults and some from parents that relate to medication, quote, vacations. So in one case, there's a parent on the webinar whose insurance has run out and they're not able to afford their child's medication for this over the summer, and she's wondering if that's going to be damaging, I guess, medically. There's another adult who is taking his XR long-acting medication only during the work week, and he's also wondering if that is that a problem. So can you comment about medication vacations, either long or short?
The whole thing, I hate the word medication holidays because it makes it sound entirely too joyous. Was originally based on very spurious data that said that these medications could slow the growth of children. Turns out zero basis for that. Go ahead. There's no basis for stopping the medication so a child will grow. The nice thing about these medications being completely effective in 1 hour is that you don't have to take the medications all day, every day. And indeed, about 40% of my adults use them as needed for a specific task. An attorney who says I've got to write...
Dr. Russell Barkley is the best video content on ADHD by far. Yeah, I know. He's the guy that I binge watched like 7 years ago when Nathan got his ADHD diagnosis. Yeah, he got a ton of seminar. I think he's considered like the leading... He also has videos where he criticizes that Gober Mayer, whatever that cat lady recommended, on ADHD too, yeah. But yeah, he's like, I think he's renowned. I think he's got like some of the most published literature or whatever on like ADHD related stuff. Yeah.
This legal brief, I'd much rather do it in 2 hours than 2 days, so I'm going to take my medication. For children and anybody basically high school or younger, I recommend take the medication very consistently, more than just for school. Because if you look at what the risks of non-treatment are, almost all of the risks occur outside of class. That if you have ADHD and you don't take medication, your risk of developing a substance use disorder quadruples. Your risk of an injury-producing accident that's severe enough to have a hospital record quadruples. Your risk of getting a speeding ticket triples. Your risk of an unplanned out-of-wedlock pregnancy 1,000%, tenfold. Your risk of being involved in the juvenile justice system due to impulsive bad decision-making goes up 700%. And we could go on and on and on.
He also criticizes the superpower narrative. Yeah, I know. I've heard him talk about that. Yeah, that's why I think I stole that dopamine line from, because he doesn't like the term hyperfocus. And I think, if I understood him correctly, I think when I watched him, I also agree that I don't like the term hyperfocus, because hyperfocus seems like for ADHD, you can direct this hyperfocus, but that's not true. You only hyperfocus on things that reward you with a consistent dopamine schedule, basically. Yeah. Like if I could hyperfocus on my homework, that would be awesome, but I can't. The only thing I can hyperfocus on is things that, yeah, give you lots of consistent rewards. Yeah. Video games.
On medication, the risks are...
Do you think you would have finished your school if you had this medication help before? Not to sound like a huge whatever piece of shit, but if I had this medication before, I would have went to like law school or fucking med school or something. If I felt like I could sit and read for 6 hours a day, because I already did like okay, like reading and absorbing information. I took so many AP and dual enrollment classes when I was in high school, and I survived off of just being able to like kind of absorb information. But if I know that I could sit down and read and actually study for more than 5 minutes a night when I wanted to kill myself, I would have gone. I probably would have done something besides music for school, I think. But maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I would have been a retarded as well.
The same as the general population. Right now, pretty much all of the risks are associated with not treating ADHD. Virtually none associated with treatment. So when parents worry about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, it all comes from non-treatment. So I strongly say, until you get into college, 7 days a week is the goal.
And that's, I suppose, so that you can best evaluate side effects and effectiveness until a child's able to make their own decisions about those issues, right? I mean, I guess, yeah.
Well, again, it's more than just school.
Right.
You're not going to get pregnant in school. You're not going to have an auto wreck in school. You're not going to be, hopefully, doing drugs in school. You're never safer than you are when you're in a public school. Where the dangers of ADHD are is after school, nights, evening, weekends, holidays. That's where the dangers are.
Okay, great. On the question of the length of time that medication lasts, a couple of questions related to this.
Okay, we don't care about. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Take it, but why do I need my ADHD medicine when I'm not working? I'm working. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. Right? I'm not an expert by any means. But it would, again, be. I would feel bad about myself when I'm by myself if I didn't say, "Hey, maybe rethink that."
So that's your opinion.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, as somebody who has an ADHD partner, somebody who has like ADHD in her family, like not everyone needs to take their pill for ADHD. It's completely up to the individual. So like, why do you think people with ADHD need to take pills?
In order to better function in the world.
In the world,
I feel like, so I feel like Wick has an opinion about medication in general, but probably doesn't know much about the particulars of ADHD medication. There's gonna be, I don't want to shit on Wick. I'm not shitting on Wick. I think you probably need to know a bit about the individual types of medications that you're criticizing people for taking or not taking, because for some things that Wick is saying, it's so undeniably true, people won't fuck with it, right? You're not going to talk to somebody who's like, oh yeah, you know, sometimes I skip a few days on my Zoloft, sometimes I skip a few days on my Prozac, sometimes I just don't take my Wellbutrin. You won't hear people say, because when they start skipping days, they know it immediately. They're miserable immediately. They get weird brain zaps. Their day is fucked. Like these people do not skip the rest because they can't. They know they can't. The process of getting on and weaning off and affecting your mood is like huge. But other people, unfortunately, there are types of medication that people will skip, even that to their severe detriment. There are a lot of type 2 diabetics, for instance, that don't keep up on their insulin, and your body is actually degenerating and destroying itself and necrotizing, and you get all these diabetic neuropathies and different like extremities, and your eyes will rot. But like people sometimes just won't take their fucking insulin, or they won't do it. They don't monitor their blood sugar because they're young. They don't feel like it's a big deal, whatever. So yeah, it definitely. I think you kind of need to know. You kind of need to know a bit about the medication you're telling people to take or not take. You also get brain zaps when you get off ADHD meds. I've never heard that before. Maybe that's true, but I've never heard that in my life. I usually hear that referred to with SSRIs or SNRIs, but I could be wrong. But I've never heard that before. Yeah.
As victories mount.
One of my buddies takes meds for it sometimes, but it's not constant. He doesn't really have massive sways one way or another from the meds, sure. The thing I don't understand is why are people so comfortable about talking about ADHD. Treatment for ADHD with zero fucking knowledge, but so much less comfortable about the same way about autism and schizophrenia. Well, when you're getting into like mental disorders, or I guess ADHD is a mental disorder, right? Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. All disorders are not the same. Especially like mild ADHD is probably not like the biggest attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Yeah. As opposed to something involving like psychosis is going to be a really big deal. Or things that induce like delusions or paranoia are going to be really big deals, even in mild forms, I think. Yeah.
Do you think people with ADHD need to take pills?
In order to better function in the world.
In the world. I'm at a computer right now, dude. I'm not in the real world. I'm not working. I'm on the computer hanging out. I treat streaming like a hobby, okay? It just happens that I make money and that
Everything Merc is saying here is stupid, but it's no surprise.
Want it to be my full-time job, right? I'm not out in society where I need to be.
It also depends on how, and again, I don't know you. I don't know how severe your ADHD is. But again, we talked about this before, how we let the most functional of the mentally ill, right, or the people with mental issues like ADHD, be the front for people, for all of the mental illness that is out there. And while some people may be very high functioning with ADHD, there are some people with ADHD who literally cannot function at all, even by themselves.
Without their meds, yeah.
And I think that, again, I don't know you, Mark, so not knowing you and not knowing which of these you are, again, like, you do what you want, but I think that, again, it feeds into the whole, well, Merc is probably doing some dangerous things, and we probably should tell her about it, and maybe warn her a little bit. I think that's a fair thing to do. I don't think that's condescending. I don't think that's patronizing. I think that's something I would like people to do with me.
And that's what I'm curious about. Like, why'd you assume the worst?
Because if it's not the worst, then you can just ignore me. But if it is the worst, then hopefully, I don't know what me saying this would do, right? Because it's just really hard sometimes to get the mentally ill people to take their meds. Like
ADHD is not a mental illness, though. It's just a disorder. You're not mentally ill if you have ADHD. You just can't.
It's all under the same level, right?
ADHD is a mental illness. It is a disorder. Or what are we saying mental illness is?
Ready to make weapons of war.
It's not a personality disorder, right? ADHD isn't a personality disorder, is it? It's considered a mental disorder, is it not?
Fan the flames.
Like NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, or bipolar disorder. Is bipolar a personality disorder, or bipolar is a mental disorder as well, right? It's a mental illness, correct? Oh, let me make sure I'm not fucking these up.
An increasing stockpile.
Yeah, it's just bipolar. It's not bipolar personality disorder, right? A mood disorder. It's both. Maybe the borders between these are a little bit more fuzzy. My understanding is that like I believe personality disorders can't be treated or changed. I don't think if it's a personality disorder, but mental illness generally has medication that can treat it. I think that's like broadly speaking the difference between the two. Like you can't give somebody medication for, well, let's just look up like personality disorders. Yeah, I don't think you can treat any of these with medication. So paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder. This doesn't mean schizophrenic. Schizotypal personality disorder. And then for group B or cluster B, borderline, histrionic, narcissistic, antisocial personality disorder, avoidant dependent. I don't think you medicate any of these, but you can give medication for things like anxiety and stuff in this. or like other symptoms or other things, but I don't think you can, yeah. Somebody said bipolar and related disorders are given a chapter of their own in the DSM-5 between depressive disorders and schizophrenia. Oh, sure. But something like, for instance, like major depressive disorder, I think, MDD, is depression. Stuff like that is considered a mental illness and is treated with medication and stuff. And I believe ADHD fits more closely alongside those things. Pretty sure. You say that I understand the perceptions that ADHD is more benign, but the outcomes we see are horrible. ADHD is one of the greatest predictors for out-of-wedlock kids. You're like 4 times more likely to be obese, 13 years lower life expectancy, and much more. Wait, really? I didn't know those things. Is that true? What's your opinion on the DSM-5, if any? I prefer 3.5, but, you know, the ruling is more artistic. ADHD outcomes. The fact that Destiny knows other shit is a bit concerning. Knows all what shit? We know lots of random shit. I feel like we dealt with so many crazy people here. Yeah, my son has ADHD. Around at the age of around 27, around 1/3 of people that are critical for ADHD. What are we looking for? 32.2% of students with the combined type of ADHD drop out of high school compared to 15% of teens with no psychiatric disorder. Oof. That's a 100% increase in high school dropouts. Between 2 and 8% of college students are estimated to have ADHD. Study found that they're far less likely to enroll in four-year college. They're 11 times more likely to not enroll in any school versus enrolling in four-year college. 50% attend vocational or junior colleges. 50% hold a 4-year degree compared to 48% of the control group. 0.06% held a graduate degree compared to 5.4% of the control group. Is that 100 times decrease? Jesus. Okay. 11 times more likely to be unemployed and not in school. 4 times more likely to be an unskilled versus clerical. 61% more likely to have ever been fired compared to 43% of the comparison group. 33% more likely to have been laid off. 53% more likely to ever quit a job due to dislike. And they earn close to $2 per hour less in wages. Okay, holy fuck. Dr. King mentioned there are non-medication ways to improve or maybe cure ADHD. Or you consider. I haven't seen evidence for any of that. He said that, and maybe I should ask him again to send me a study, but I haven't seen evidence for any of that. Destiny, are you saying BPD can't be treated through medication? Borderline? No, I don't believe borderline can be treated through medication. I think that somebody can give you medication for other things. Like, I think lithium might be a mood stabilizer, I think. Careful. And I think you can give, like, Xanax and stuff for panic attacks or anxiety or whatever. But you can't give a medication. It's like, my BPD is under control because I'm medicated or something. Like, I think BPD is a constant, like, you have to learn techniques. You've got to learn how to regulate your emotion. You've got to learn things. You've got to apply these things throughout your entire life. I don't think you can just take a pill and it's like, my BPD is, like, under control. I'm good, you know? Okay. Treatment is usually dialectic behavior therapy for BPD. Yeah, DBT. Yes. ADHD is not a mental illness, it's a mental disorder. Okay. Maybe there's like mental disorders, personality disorders, and mental illnesses? Okay, back to this, sorry.
Kind of. It depends on how you read the DSM. Can I just ask, so is this about relieving your guilt? So you know you've said something? Is it about like relieving your guilt so you know you've said something that help
just a guilt thing. That is part of it, to be honest with you. Like that,
there are coping mechanisms to help control ADHD, but they're not fixed or cures, and they only work when you turn them into habits that are difficult to break. Yeah, I think something I noticed is, because over the past week, while I've been spiraling my personal life shit, I stopped taking my medication because my sleep and wake was just fucked. And I feel weird if I've only gotten 2 hours of sleep, I don't want to take like an amphetamine and keep me awake because I don't know if I'm about to like burn the fuck out of my brain and have it like collapse or destroy itself. There are some things I noticed though that like now when I stop taking my medication, there are certain habits that I've established where it's like, oh, it's a little bit easier to do this or that. But then there are other things where when I'm on my medication, it's just easier to do whatever. One thing that I noticed, this sounds like such a stupid cope or such a weird thing to say, and again, I highly recommend looking into this. Initially, I thought for ADHD, if you take amphetamines, it helps you lose weight because it curbs your appetite, because that's what amphetamines do. While that is partially true, another thing that it does is, this is so stupid. I'm just going to be very frank about this. If it sounds like I'm blaming ADHD, fuck you, I've accomplished more in my life. I can blame a few things, okay? Kill it, fuck you, okay? Non-medicated, if I have a package of cookies in my kitchen, that package of cookies will last at most 2 days, maybe. If I'm walking by and I see it, I gotta grab a cookie, obviously, okay? If I walk by a package, there's a cookie, I'll grab 1 or 2, because why not? Fuck it, I walk by. It's very easy when I'm medicated to walk by and see it, it's like, you know, a cookie would be nice right now, but like, I don't need it right now, and just keep walking. It seems stupid. I've noticed even when going through airports that like, I'll see a store and I'm like, man, normally I would really want to just like buy a pack of cookies for like my plane trip, but I don't actually need that right now, I'm good. That need to like see things and like grab it and just like take a bite of something or eat it or grab something or whatever is completely eliminated. And I don't think that that's like my appetite has been severely curbed. I think that's just like, I feel like I don't need the instant kick or sugar or stimulus from just like grabbing a cookie. Like the impulsive shit, yeah, is like so dramatically reduced. The impulsive shit is so dramatically reduced that it makes it easy to not just like grab for shit like that, yeah. It's impulse control. I don't know why the med's effective, but yeah. Well, because I think it's all part of that. Remember, when we talk about like dopamine or serotonin, people talk about these neurochemicals in very simplistic ways. People say, oh, dopamine is the happy drug. Serotonin is like a happy neurochemical. These neurochemicals are incredibly complicated and they regulate like a billion things in your body. Serotonin and dopamine are not just used for 1 or 2 things. They affect all sorts of part of your nervous system, of your whatever the system I think cannabinoids act on. There's like so many parts of your body, of your nervous system that are affected by these neurochemicals. It's not just your happiness. It's not just your, your appetite or whatever. There's tons of things these things affect. Just as a heads up, these neurochemicals control for so many different things. Recently I got diagnosed with ADHD, didn't start beginning of BS in biochemistry, and a grad student and grad degree in statistics, but now I'm medicating and can focus better. The side effects are brutal. I'm sorry, I don't know if I read that word. Wait, hold on.
Another one falls. A death by inches.
What's he right now on Judean deleting his channel, converting to an evangelical? I don't know. Is that real or is it like another prank thing?
The darkness holds much worse than mere trickery and boogeymen.
Okay.
Is this like when you've been warned, it's becoming the need to warn others, right? And again, if I see someone that might be doing something harmful, I should probably say something. That's stuff like that. Built in, yeah. But also, right, there are people in my audience listening. We talked about influence as well. And so while you may be high functioning with ADHD, there are other people who are in my audience, in your audience, in other people's audience, who to take their meds, to not take their meds, is going to damage them in a way it will not damage you. And so yes, my standard line, what I will tell to everyone right here and now, is if a doctor prescribes you medication, take that medication. It is
It's optional. You're
optional.
You have to call your doctor and say, I need my pills. Like ADHD, you have to call your doctor and say, hey bro, give me pills. He won't care.
He streams for 300 viewers on Kick reading scripture. Here is one thing I will say. If you want to convert to Islam or Christianity or Judaism or whatever, okay? I love you and I respect you and I'll support whatever you want to do, but please don't just like pick up scripture and start reading. As stupid as it sounds, just reading the Bible or just reading whatever is only going to get you like 30% maybe of the way to like understanding what the religion is all about. Like there's a lot of biblical scholarship or probably Quranian scholarship or Quranian, I don't know what the fuck you call it. And we call it biblical scholarship, I think, in Christianity. There's a lot that goes into like reading and interpreting and contextualizing like all of the stuff that's said in scripture. It's probably the same too for like the hadiths in the Quran or the Torah or whatever. It's really good to, like follow educated people that also discuss these texts. If you want to read it, I would never discourage you from reading the text if you want to convert, but like you should also listen to other people who have studied them as well, because the scholarship and the studying is going to fill you in on way more information than you'll get from just reading a particular thing.
You take your pills. My doctor actually, this is what my doctor who prescribes, if I go tri-monthly for my ADHD medicine refill, I take Vyvanse, I used to be on Adderall XR, okay? I'm on 30 milligrams. My doctor said that if I don't need to take it, I don't have to take it because one, you get accustomed to taking it all the time. It doesn't have that much of an effect, so you barely can focus anymore because like you're so used to it. And two, it is.
Fuck. Hold on. I can't type and listen to her at the same time because now she's about to say a bunch of really dumb shit about medication. Okay.
So I take Vyvanse. I used to be on Adderall XR. Okay, I'm on 30 milligrams. My doctor said that if I don't need to take it, I don't have to take it because one, you get accustomed to taking it all the time. It doesn't have that much of an effect, so it like barely like.
So my understanding is about 50% of people that start at amphetamine and get to an appropriate dose don't need an increase, and then I think like 40% will ask for an increase and get it, but eventually they level out too. The idea, and if I'm wrong on this, please shoot me a study in chat showing that I'm incorrect on this, okay? Because I welcome contradiction, okay? I seek it out. My understanding is that most people, if they get a good prescription for an amphetamine and an appropriate dose, they'll take it and they'll be good on that dose for the rest of their life. The idea that you constantly build up more, you constantly have a higher tolerance, you constantly need more and more and more and more and more, I don't believe that's true. I don't think there's research that supports that. Maybe for some people, but for most people, I don't believe that's the case, yeah. Matt says, Destiny, you're an atheist. You don't know the first thing about being religious. I attended private Catholic grade school, and I went to a Jesuit high school, which is the teaching order of the Catholic Church. Every single year, we were required to take 2 semesters of some sort of religious studies class, and I went to church and was Catholic. I've been through all the sacraments, save for marriage and holy orders. So fuck you and suck my dick in the holy religious way, okay? I could be wrong about some shit about Catholicism, though. I admit. I don't know. I didn't fucking study the catechism from front to back. But yeah, if you think I'm wrong about something, feel free to correct me.
Like you barely can focus anymore because like you're so used to it. And two, it is bad on your heart. Vyvanse is very bad on your heart, which is why I don't take it all the time.
This is also another untrue thing. The idea that any amphetamine is bad for your heart is not true. My understanding is that the increase in blood pressure over like a decade is like 1 to 2%. It is there, and if you've got a pre-existing heart condition, it is definitely something to be concerned about. But the idea that like, oh God, I'm gonna be on an amphetamine. Oh God, like my blood pressure was 120 over, I don't even know the hell it was, and now it's like 200. Oh God, like that's not true. It shouldn't have this dramatically crazy impact on your heart. If you've got a pre-existing condition, it's something to worry about. But if you take a amphetamine and it helps you manage your schedule better and start exercising, your heart will be healthier in 3 years or in 1 year on an amphetamine if you're working out than if you're a lazy piece of shit, especially if you're like obese or something otherwise. Your healthcare outcomes, even directly related to your heart, will be better on an amphetamine if you make any adjustment in your life because of the amphetamine to diet or exercise, okay? Always be aware of that, all right?
High blood pressure runs in my family. Obesity runs in my family. Heart disease is very prevalent in my genetics. So therefore, I don't want to fuck up my heart any more than I have to. So if
then you should go to a doctor, get a physical, and find out, do you have high blood pressure? Because if you do, there's other things you should be doing to bring that into account. And also, not to be weird on this and not to be an asshole, but I don't buy this idea that like, I'm so worried about my health from somebody, and I don't know if this applies to her, but I think it does. If you just sit in your room all day, you never leave, you eat like shit, you don't exercise, and blah, blah, blah. It reminds me of people that'll say things like, I would never, ever, ever do, I don't trust drugs from pharmacies. I don't trust that they're not trying to poison my mind. Meanwhile, you know, they're doing random lines of coke from people they just met 5 minutes ago, or they're doing all other types of like crazy fucking hard drugs and shit. It's like, really? Or they're eating McDonald's every single fucking day. And it's like, clearly you only care about some of the things you put in your body, right? But yeah.
If I work a real job and I'm out in the world and I need to focus.
Oh, that too. Doesn't she smoke crazy amounts of weed every single day? Yeah, I don't believe her at all for the health claims. This is why I said this at the very beginning of the, Destiny, this was you 2 months ago? I don't think so. But this is also why I don't believe people that, over the vaccine stuff. Remember when I said at the beginning, there was one group of people that I would totally buy if they're like, I don't want the vaccine, I don't put anything unnatural in my body. If you give me like some fucking vegan dude that like grows his own vegetables and he lives like this crazy, I don't want to say crazy, that's dismissive. He lives like an incredibly health conscientious life where he's controlling every single thing going, and he's like, I don't do vaccines, I don't trust it. Okay, that's fair, fuck it. I disagree, but you know, you're consistent, I respect the lifestyle. But when you give me, you know, like a 250-pound conservative living in Louisiana who's eating McDonald's every single day, never exercises, like, I'm not gonna take vaccine, I think it's gonna fucking poison me. Why did you slam your door? It sounded like it. What are you doing over there? What are you eating? There's a Soylent in the fridge. You're not gonna drink the Soylent? It is not Soylent, that's right. Good. What What are you hungry for? Lycan usually cooks at like 7 or 8, so you probably need something fun because it's 1. Yeah. Yeah, it's because we make money here. Yeah. We also, you remember, you wanted to move here and you wanted to live here, and this is one of the most expensive spots in the fucking world to live in too. So that's also a big factor. Well, you know, hey, listen, if you were here more often, you know, he offered that, but now he's on the once a day plan. But there's also a new restaurant below, downstairs if you want to go to that too. So.
The slow death.
Have fun, be careful. Don't die.
Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
Okay. I was in the middle of my soliloquy and she ruined it. Anyway, here we go.
I will take it. But when I'm at home, in my safe space, streaming, being a retard, I don't have to take it. And like you said, you're not aware of what my doctor told me. Well, guess what? Now you're aware. So my doctor proved that I don't have to take it, so what's the conversation?
Can I attempt to build a bridge?
Sure.
I have ADHD. I'm the type that if I don't take my meds, I literally can't be a human. Like, I'm not a hyperactive ADHD. I'm a functional ADHD person. And my psych and my doctor both said to lessen the chances of severe side effects and to also lower tolerance, they call it a medication vacation, where you take a break from them on days where you don't.
Oh, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Somebody linked this. I don't know if this is contradicting me or agreeing with me. Withdrawal from pharmacological treatment and drug holidays. Introduction. A common question often asked healthcare professionals about ADHD medication, particularly about stimulants, is the impact of stopping medication or taking a drug holiday. A drug holiday is an agreed cessation medication for a period of time. Questions can be directly related to the impact of cessation on ADHD medication. There's a lot of confusing information. This chapter includes 2 reviews. Okay, what's our conclusion? No conclusion. Seriously? The committee considered quality of life, ADHD, the quality of evidence, benefits and harms, cost mix and resource use. Okay. In the evidence identified in this review, there was a clinically important benefit of drug holidays in terms of parent-rated ADHD, parent-rated or patient-rated? Which is a parent-rated ADHD symptoms and adverse events. The committee discussed, in 2 periods. What is this review? Hold on. Is this, are there typos in here? The committee discussed other benefits and harms of drug holidays. Although the trial showed drug holidays causing an improvement in ADHD symptoms, the committee agreed that was unlikely to be a specific event and more a marker of low quality of evidence. However, the committee agreed that drug holidays, they may well reduce adverse events. One of the harms of drug holidays are that encouraging people to take breaks in medication may lead to worse adherence overall, even during non-holiday periods. They got an undergrad assistant to type this shit out. I usually, I don't really see like typos and shit on like PubMed stuff. Weird. Okay.
Okay. You know, need to function. So like for me, it would be on a weekend day if I'm going on a walk or something. You know what I mean? So I take that break because I have a high cholesterol. I've had it since I was a kid. It's genetic, and I have a heart murmur as well. So I'm just attempting to give my perspective, hopefully build a bridge in this situation. Some people with ADHD do struggle with impulsiveness, but I'm not going to assume Merc being impulsive has anything to do with that. But is it fair for me to say, and you can correct me, Merc, would you feel like, is it more fun to stream when you're not on your meds versus when you're on them?
I think, okay, for example, when I take my ADHD medication, it's much more serious. Like, I'm much more serious. I'm more focused. Like, I need to be doing something where I can, like, be productive, right?
I'm also so curious about this. I've said this a few times. Warning, bullshit conjecture alert. Bullshit conjecture alert, okay? This is bullshit conjecture. There's no study whatsoever to back this up that I'm aware of, okay? When I hear people say this, I'm so curious. When people say, because my understanding is if you do not have ADHD and you take medication for it, there are a lot of negative outcomes that are not counterbalanced by any positive outcome. That it will fuck with your head a little bit. It will make you feel kind of weird. It will make you feel a little bit like more serious or like a zombie or blah, 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 or whatever. Like I've heard these things. And I think I've seen them because if you don't have like the dopamine deficiency and you're hardcore like pumping your brain with it, it like fucks your shit up pretty hard if you don't have ADHD. And I'm going by anecdote, sample n equals 1. Okay, it's just me. But when I hear people say this, like, yeah, when I take my medication, I have to be super serious. I have to like be focused. I have to do this thing. I don't have that experience whatsoever. Not even close. What I'm curious about is that, like, are people taking the medication that don't really need it, or they're on too high a dose, so it fucks with them? Or maybe different people have different experience on medication. That could be the case as well. And obviously I can't look outside of my own body, so it's hard for me to know. But yeah, that's a very strange feeling to me. I don't feel a single negative aspect when I'm on medication relating to ADHD at all. There's nothing negative. I've never felt like, oh God, I have to be so serious now or anything like that ever.
don't want to be productive all the time. Sometimes I just want to be myself. I want to have fun. I want to watch stupid stuff on the internet. I want to game. I want to goof around. I don't want to be serious. And for me, my ADHD medication makes me serious. So by that logic, your statement of, do you think that it makes you? Yes, most definitely, which is why I choose not to take it. Now if I'm doing something serious where, like, say I was going to write like a thesis for college or do something like that on stream, then I have to take my medication. But there's no need to take ADHD medication if you're not going to be serious.
I will copy that. I don't know your situation. I don't know your doctor stuff. It is what it is. Fair. I guess to kind of re-real us, let me just ask you, Merc. Do you feel that me and Aurora were abusive towards you?
So we are going off the definition. This is your sphere.
I'm asking you what you feel.
So if we are in my space, in my bubble, for me, I feel like you guys weren't being physically abusive, but you were very aware of what you were doing. Whether subconsciously, consciously, you were being very condescending to me. I was screaming, telling you, this is who I am, and you wouldn't listen. Wick, you cut me off multiple times. You didn't let me finish my statements. I would answer a question.
Again, with the abusive, like, why can't you just leave the call? Why not just, like, leave? Like, just X and leave the call. Like, what's keeping you here?
And you just completely ignore my response. I think you guys, and it's just my opinion, my brain, I think you guys went...
There is an extremely high amount of people taking ADHD medication who don't need it. It's the most overprescribed thing of all time. Yeah, I wonder about that, too. I want to close your door. Oh, why? I can be able to see Mel in the background? Should be fine. Yeah, I don't know about, like, overprescription. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if ADHD meds were overprescribed because of how easy it is to get them. Getting my ADHD medication was retardedly easy. Like, I did a telehealth thing. I think I gave indications that I had drug-seeking behavior because I said, like, oh, like, I've done my friend's medications before, and sometimes it feels like I'm on MDMA and blah, 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 and she had no problem prescribing me drugs over the phone after a 30-minute thing. So, it seems like if you... Okay, I want to be super weird. Okay. Please take everything I hate giving so many disclaimers. Please take everything I say about medication with a grain of salt. It feels like there's probably a little bit of under-prescribing and over-prescribing going on at the same time, where a lot of the things related to ADHD can also be like normal issues that normal people have. Like, oh, I've got impulse control issues. Like, fuck me. I should have ADHD medication. Or there's a lot of people that have ADHD who are like, I feel like a lazy piece of shit. I don't want to take the medication, so then they don't get diagnosed or prescribed, right? Yeah, so I'm sure it happens both ways, but...
in there hating me or disliking me, whatever it may be, and you guys felt like you knew more than me. And whether it came from the goodness of your hearts, whether you guys didn't like me, I don't care. The point is how I felt, and I felt disrespected, most definitely, which is why I left the call. So were you being abusive? Verbally abusive? Borderline. Almost there. Basically abusive. Which I think...
Bro, Destiny Cap'n hella, he hella serious since drugs. I mean, yeah, I've been like more, serious in terms of like wanting to focus on things, but like, I can still like joke around with people or band with people, but like it's also because I want to like explore more serious things. Like, I think that's always been a drive for me. How many times have we had this conversation in the past on my stream for years? Where are the old, where are the old fans at? The old frogs at? Where I've been like, okay guys, I think we're gonna do study streams more often. We're gonna do research streams more often. We're gonna do this. Like, I've wanted to have the drive to do these, but then it's like, okay, but also we just discovered the game Ixion. Oh, we just did a new run in Stardew Valley. Oh, we just started another run in Terraria. Oh, we just started Factorio Space Expedition, right? We'll do this after. Let's just finish this game. Let's just finish this game. Let's just finish this game. Let me just finish this game and then we'll do it. And then let me just, okay, but we're starting, right. I've done this a million times. So, yeah, I guess they've made me more serious, but like, this is how serious I've wanted to be. But like, but it's also not like, now I'm here like, did you just say a kill you joke? That's not okay. Also, we should do a fundraiser for Wikipedia. Holy shit.
I think it's a fair statement.
Fair enough. I guess I would challenge this though. And again, this is a little difficult because I watched in great detail Brittany's coverage. I didn't go back and in great detail watch our conversation again, right? So I only saw the Brittany show, right?
Also, real quick, let me, I'm gonna use the rest of my phone. Hold on. Give me 102 seconds.
Press disadvantage. Give them no quarter. Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken. on its own. Watch your step. The shifted corridors and sloped walls of our ancestry are beginning to feel familiar.
Did I make it back in time? Also, you know what I don't remember? I never remember the episode where Foreman fucking stabbed Cameron with that needle to like make her sick so she would go and explore that house. What the fuck? Foreman, that was pretty fucked up. How can you distinguish between lack of discipline versus ADD? Both make you not able to focus on things you do not want to do. How do you differentiate?
There is a great horror beneath the manor. A crawling chaos.
Okay. Oh god. This is my thing, okay? Oh, okay. I'm gonna give two things. One of these is gonna be jerking myself off, and the other is gonna be more serious. I'll give the more serious one first. There are tests that you can do to check for different types of like spatial reasoning IQ and verbal IQ and all of this, and like I think memory, temporary memory IQ or some bullshit. There's like 5 different. What are the different IQ bullshits or whatever? If you test